Well, it's a sad day, this, because I know a lot of people say that he really was the greatest ever.
Oh, I think there's little doubt about that. I think that, of course, a lot of people at this day and age want to have seen him at his height, at his very, very best. But considering that in those days, the punishment defenders used to give out and what they used to try to do to stop him and the way he used to ride the tackles and still produce his genius was something else. It really was a cruel game in those days, and they'd go to any lengths, particularly in the World Cup, to try and stop him, and he managed to steer away from injury and still produce brilliant talent.
He's somebody who everybody knew about. He's a kind of global name. And I think what's really interesting is that when someone passes and when somebody dies, we do sort of forgive a lot of their sins. I mean, when I was growing up, that hand of God thing was basically the thing that defined him, as well as his very interesting and slightly spicy lifestyle. There was a lot of drugs, there was a lot of prostitutes, there was a lot of kind of like the seedier side of things. So to me growing up, I kind of knew him as the hand of God, and he'd morphed into almost like a sort of character from a film.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the cocaine and all of that ruined it a bit, didn't it, Sam? Because he was definitely on cocaine at one of the subsequent World Cup finals. You could see in his face, and that's a shame.
Well, that's absolutely right. And I sometimes you would wonder if he was actually, on that drug while he was actually playing in those days, whether there was any real checks on whether he was or wasn't taking it. But certainly it's shortened his life, as we well know, because he's only 60 when he died. And I think that in those days, unfortunately, there was very little help from football clubs at that stage. And of course, you had to really try and get some help to him all his life, really. While he was playing and since he stopped playing, he's always been troubled and been in the headlines, unfortunately, for the wrong reasons. But certainly as a footballer, a genius. But as he lived his life after that, was quite, even at some stages, horrific, being thrown out of grounds and stuff like that for his behaviour. But that's rather sad. But a genius he was, and I think when he's passed away, we should look back on that genius and what a great ability that he had.